Right, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2026 Freight Priorities Program training session. I'll give everyone another couple more minutes to log in, but it looks like we have a good amount of you already. So just a couple more minutes and then we'll get started with the training presentation. Okay, so that should be good. So thank you everyone for attending the 2026 Freight Priorities Program training session. My name is Tom Brandenstein. I'm an associate with White House Group. And today, I, along with my colleague Haitao Yu from Cambridge Systematics, will be covering the basics of the MPOAC's Freight Priorities Program and the practical knowledge needed to submit your agency's freight projects to the program. The program is entering its ninth year, but we know some of you are newer to the program, so we will be covering material that may be a review for those already experienced with FPP project submittals in the past. So, no matter if you are new or a veteran, we want to encourage participation in the session. There are two ways to alert for questions. You can either use the raise your hand feature on the reactions button, and a meeting host will unmute you if you wanted to vocally voice that question. Or you can type your question into the Q&A feature, also located on the panel, and you can add questions through the chat feature there. This session is being recorded and will be made available in video format on the Freight Party Programs portal website, which we will also cover later in the presentation. And you can reference this training session throughout the open application period if you want to look back at anything we did cover today. So we have a stuffed agenda today, so I'll try to keep us moving through our allotted 1-hour session. The first half of the training will cover general information on the program, the resulting project list end product that we create from the project submittals, and some statistics on the program's past performance. The second half of the training will cover the practical aspects of submitting a project application, including the online application portal and the support materials made available to you. Hightout will then go through a live demonstration of the application portal so you can actually see how to navigate around the portal, and they'll give you the basics of navigating through that. And then we will finish off with the schedule moving forward and any final questions that you have for us. So there are 5 main goals that we want to make sure you leave this session feeling confident with. One is to understand the purpose and process of the Freight Priorities Program, or also known as the FPP. We want to cover the project eligibility to the program. We want to learn how to submit online project applications and understand what assistance is available to you through that process. And finally, we want to note all the important dates you need to keep up with the program schedule. So there are three basic outcomes that we hope to accomplish with the Freight Priorities program, and we will look at each of these three outcomes a little closer to see the benefits that result from each of them. The first is to provide MPOs with an opportunity to identify high priority freight projects on an annual basis. In preparation for project submittals to the program, MPOs will first need to identify their most pressing freight needs. Agencies will then prioritize the projects that address those needs for submittal to the program. The annual cycle of the program allows for recent changes in your area or with funding changes to be taken into account and adjust your project submittals on a yearly basis. The second program purpose is to use the MPOAC as a united voice to promote these MPO priorities. The program uses a strengths in number approach and gives all MPOs in the state a chance to participate and submit projects to the list. The project list is then endorsed by three separate committees within the statewide body of the MPOAC, ensuring that projects have met the requirements set by the Freight and Rail Committee. The project list is then transmitted to FDOT leadership by the MPOAC Executive Director. The ultimate goal is then to see projects on the list receive or advance funding needs. The program does not directly fund any projects, but it does position them for increased chances for funding. FDOT does consider the list during its internal prioritization processes. Network designations are a way that the list targets specific funding opportunities. We tried to highlight the State Highway System, Strategic Intermodal System, and National Highway Freight Program project identifiers so FDOT can easily see which programs are eligible for which funding buckets. The project list can be used to also boost applications competing for discretionary grant funds. I know Build just was actually going to wrap up tomorrow, so a little late for this year's submittals for Build, but Infra typically comes through in the summer or through next year's Build cycle. FDOT has incorporated the FPP project list into its project prioritization process for National Highway Freight Program funding. National Highway Freight Program eligible projects receive points in the prioritization process for being included on the FPP project list. The full prioritization process details can be viewed in FDOT's Freight and Mobility Trade Plan in the Tech Memo 6. Projects submitted to the FPP in the past 2 years and that are tentatively funded with National Highway Freight Program funds are shown in the table on the slide. And you can see that there are a total of 9 of those projects with the tentative funding between 2026 and 2031, amounting to a total just over 70 million. And just for reference, Florida typically annually receives about approximately $70 million from the federal government for the National Highway Freight Program funding. And these funding figures here were taken from the FDOT Freight Mobility Trade Plan Tech Memo 7 update that occurred in October 2025. The National Highway Freight Program is not the only funding targeted by the FPP project list, but it is the only known program where the project list has been incorporated into the prioritization process. So moving on to the actual process of the FPP, there were no major adjustments made to the FPP project process by the committee this year, but there are 5 main components within the FPP process. The first is for MPOs to choose the projects they would like to submit. 6 submissions are allowed per MPO, and this is further broken down into a max of 3 state highway system roadway project submissions and 3 non-state highway system roadway projects. And we'll cover those eligibility requirements a little further in the upcoming slides. Once the projects have been chosen, each project needs an application submitted on the online portal website. The portal is a custom website developed by Service Edge Solutions that will handle application creation, application reviews, and serve as a central location for all program guidance documentation. Once applications are submitted, they will be reviewed by the consultant team. And we may have follow-up questions that need to be answered. So you will want to be on the lookout for any communications that come after the submittal process. When the project submission window closes, the consultant team will then offload all project data and create the actual project list. And prior to the April MPOAC meeting, a draft project list will be sent out to all of the participating MPOs to confirm any of the public-facing information and make sure that is correct before we bring it to endorsement for the MPOAC committees. Finally, the finished project list will be presented to the MPOAC for an endorsement. The endorsed list will then be sent to FDOT, aligning with their annual work program update. So are there any questions on the process overview of the FPP? Pause here for 1 sec. Okay. And moving on, as mentioned in the previous slide, eligible projects are broken down into 2 categories, state highway system roadway projects and non-state highway system roadway projects. The state highway system roadway projects have been included in all 8 years of the FPP. In 2022, the Freight and Rail Committee voted to expand the program after feedback was communicated that some agencies' highest freight priorities did not actually fall on the state highway system. These new project types that were included in the 2022 update have been included within a single non-state highway system roadway category. For the actual state highway system roadway projects, there are some minor eligibility criteria that the committee has set up. And those include that they have to be 1, located on the state highway system, and 2, can have a maximum of 3 per MPO, and they need a minimum of the PD&E funded within the work program. Then finally, they just must be able to accept accelerated funding. If so, they were chosen once this list has been submitted. The non-state highway system roadway category includes 4 different project types. These are non-state highway system roadways, intermodal logistics center access projects, truck parking projects, and rail freight projects. If the project requires a PD&E, it also must be at least funded to be eligible for the program. And as with the state highway system roadway category, these projects also must be able to accept accelerated funding, and we can have a maximum of 3 submitted per MPO. In the project applications, we do ask for less cost information for these non-state highway system roadway projects, but other than that, the applications are pretty identical between the 2 different project category types. Are there any questions with project eligibility?
There's some questions in the Q&A panel. Do you want
I
me
see
to?
it, Marco.
Yeah.
So accelerated funding timeframe, it's just a more general category to make sure there's nothing blocking the project. We don't want projects on the list being submitted for FDOT's consideration if there's some underlying blocking issue that would cause the project either to be delayed or funding not to be able to be accepted. So it's not a specific timeline so much as it's just no big blockers preventing the project from progressing forward and not being eligible for those funds if they were made available. No problem. Thanks, Marco, for the question. Okay, moving on. So here we have listed the 4 different parties that come together to make the Freight Priorities program a success. Each group has its own role in the program's processes. MPOs are responsible for submitting project applications, using the list to advocate for their projects, and providing program feedback. The program feedback is an essential component so that we, the consultant team, can make the program as easy as possible and useful for the MPOs to increase program participation. And moving on to the consultant team. The consultant team's job is to administer the program, create that final project list product that's done at the end of the process, and then implement any of those program changes that are communicated to us by the Freight and Rail Committee. The MPOAC serves as the uniting body and single voice of the program, and FDOT considers that final project list once the process is complete and uses in possible funding considerations. So now we'll take a look at an example from the 2025 project list to see the actual product that is created from your project submissions. The list portion of the project list is broken down by FDOT districts, making it easier for district freight coordinators to locate projects that apply to them. In this example, we're using District 5, but if you would like to see the complete list with your district, you can view the complete 2025 project list on the MPOAC's website within the Freight and Rail Committee's webpage. And the list highlights other components important to FDOT and their considerations, including the network designations of each project and the PD&E status, and then also the district freight coordinator priority status of the project. The project list also includes a statewide map of all the projects submitted, as well as a district level map with some of those identified networks. This map shows the 36 projects that were submitted in 2025, and then also a zoomed in view of that District 5 list that was on the previous slide. And once again, if you want to see the full project list from last year, you can view that on the MPOAC's website, and you can see which district applies to you. And here we have some of the submission trends of the program seen over the past years. Last year, there were 36 projects submitted to the program. The majority of those submissions were that state highway system roadway project category, which has been the trend since the inception of the program. That has been the most popular category to submit. But we have seen a rise in the off-system roadway projects, and then also truck parking have also been other popular categories that have been submitted in the past few years since those were included in 2022. Project submissions have relatively remained consistent in the mid-30s over the past years, but it's not always the same MPOs that are submitting these mid-30 amount of projects. We see some MPOs choose to not submit on a year-to-year basis based on the funding needs for their specific projects. So we do see MPOs bounce on and off the list from year to year. And then finally, submittals of projects eligible to the federal National Highway Freight Program have increased over the course of the program, with 19 projects on the National Highway Freight Network submitted in 2025. So I think that's become a more popular project category to submit to the list with its inclusion in FDOT's prioritization process for those National Highway Freight Program funds. All right. Now, moving into the 2026 cycle, we'll start by going through the support documentation provided to assist and provide feedback during the submission process this year. All the documents will be available on the FPP portal website for you to use whenever you need. The first document is the instructions and is your first source of help through the process. The instructions will begin with a brief overview of the program and list all the important dates. Then the instructions get into a question-by-question list for the project applications, and they provide some more clarity on the types of responses we are looking to receive for each question. And obviously, if you have further questions as you go through some of those questions in the application, you are free to reach out to myself or Hightow. We are available to assist you through that application process. Next is the District Freight Coordinator checklist. This was designed to help facilitate conversations with your District Freight Coordinator on projects. The district freight coordinators have a strong knowledge of FDOT's work program scoring criteria, which projects are good contenders for discretionary grants, and projects that they are going to submit for their own district priority lists. We encourage collaboration with the district freight coordinators to inform your decision making, but not to have the district freight coordinators actually selecting your MPO's submittal projects to the list. The final document is the feedback form. It allows anyone to provide feedback on the overall program, online portal, and individual questions on the project applications. And feedback is what has shaped the program into what it is today. So hearing any pain points from you as participants can help us make a better and more influential program. Once you have completed a form, you can send it to myself or Haitao. And you don't have to complete the whole form. If you just have a specific comment, maybe on one specific area, feel free to just fill out that section and send it over to us. And then I just want to reiterate that all of these documents that I covered are available on the FPP Portal's website. Okay, so now I will cover the basic functions of the FPP online portal. I'll just give a brief overview of the main functions on each page of the portal, and then Haitao will give that more detailed demonstration during the live demo. The welcome page is what you're seeing on the slide right now, and this is the publicly accessible landing page of the website. All of those support documents I just covered, and this training presentation with the slide deck, and then also the video recording will be available here for you to view and to share amongst other staff members that you work with. There are two sources of help listed on this page. The first will be for questions on the program and project applications. These should be directed to myself or Haitao. You can see our emails available there under the technical assistance category. And then more website issue questions, those can be directed directly to Rodney Bunner at Service Edge Solutions. Those are on the bottom of the page where you see the report website issues button. So those types of questions can go there. And then the more, how do we fill out the applications, project eligibility, or just general process questions can be directed to myself or Haitao. Once you are ready to move on, you would want to go to your unique agency page to actually fill out your project applications. And you can reach that either through the green button in the center of the screen or in the top right. So once you click one of those buttons, it'll bring you to the MPO sign-in page. Here, you will choose your agency from the Dropbox listed in the center. Once you've chosen your agency, then you will enter your agency's unique password into the text box. And these unique passwords will be sent to your agency's designated contacts on Friday, February 27th, so this Friday. We will cover who those designated contacts are in an upcoming slide. So if you have changes that have happened, you can let me know and we can make sure that those are getting to the right person. So once you've signed in, you will then come to the agency-specific application page. From this page, you will be able to create, edit, and delete project applications. Applications from previous years will already be pre-populated in your application list with all the information that was retained from last year's submittal. If you have a new application you want to create, there is the Create FPP Application button located on the right-hand side of the middle of the page. And here you can start a brand new, fresh application for any new projects that you want to add into the list. Applications are broken down into a 3-step process, which Haitao will cover more in depth when he does his live demo. But this page allows you to see which step each of those applications is currently in. And those are color-coded, as you can see on the review key that is shown in the slide screenshot there. And you can see the corresponding color on the steps column of the actual application list. So you can see most of those are in the first step, haven't been started, but that fourth project there, that's gone through all three of its application steps and is ready for submittal, as indicated by the blue submit button that is to its right. So once you've gone through those three steps, you want to make sure you hit that submit button for it to actually be sent to us for that review. Also available on this page, you can hit the manage button, and the manage button will allow you to view any of that review feedback. If you've submitted a project, me or Hightow will provide any feedback if further information is needed. So if that is sent back, you can view any of that information on that manage button there. You can also delete an application from the manage button. And then finally, you also have the ability to download a PDF version of your project application that you can store on your agency's in your agency's records for each of the project submittals. I think we have a question. Yes, Sandra.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question in regarding to the review key. Now, this is the projects are reviewed based on what you guys have came across for the projects, or are you just reviewing before it's submitted?
No, so the MPO staff will submit the project, and we will get a notification that it's been submitted, and then we will go in once all the application information is complete. Mainly what's being reviewed is those eligibility criteria that were set by the committee. So it's making sure that the project has indeed at least has a PD&E funded. That's really the main criteria. And then also the rest of the application is showing that it is a freight project priority. And then also has all of the information that was requested in the three application steps filled out to the degree that is needed. And that's specified on that instruction sheet. But other than that, we're not trying to really reject projects here. We just want to make sure it is indeed a freight priority that falls under the committee's FPP kind of program purview, and then also meets that PD&E requirement of being funded. And other than that, we kind of welcome most projects into the program. So nothing too heavy on the review side for these project submittals. Does that
Okay,
answer your question?
yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
cool. Mhm. So moving on to those designated contacts I mentioned earlier, the unique agency login passwords will be sent to each agency's executive director and any other designated contacts that they have listed on the 27th. This is also the same day that the portal will open this year for submissions. Designated contacts will receive all portal-generated communications, including submission confirmations and application review feedback. So as we are making those reviews, if we do need that further information, when we send that project application back, it will automatically notify your agency's designated contacts with an email. So you won't have to go in and check the portal each day to see if you've got review feedback. You should receive those as soon as we are through completed reviewing. These contacts can be changed by emailing me directly. So if you don't have the particular person maybe filling out the application and you want them to be included on those automated emails, just send me an email and we can get them added to the list. And then based on agency feedback from the past, if you are expecting a portal email and did not receive one, say you're submitting your application and you should receive that confirmation email, you don't get it. We do recommend that you first check your spam folder before reaching out to us. We have had agencies note to us that the portal generated automatic emails have gone into their spam folder. So use that as a first check, but if you do have issues with receiving those, just you can reach out to us and we can figure out what's going on. So the current list of designated contacts that we have for the FPP are noted on the screen now. Freight and Rail Committee member agencies are set to their voting members and alternates unless they've asked me otherwise to change that. Non-Freight and Rail Committee member agencies are set to their executive director and the friend of committee designated contact they have identified to the Freight and Rail Committee. And like I said, if you want to add anyone specific to these automated generated emails, just shoot me an email with who you want to add, and we can insert those to your agency. And a little more information on the review process. So all applications will go through a review process. The process is mainly just verifying that the answers satisfy each of the questions. Like I said, we're not trying to deny project entry. We just want to make sure that they meet all the stipulations that were set up by the Freight and Rail Committee. There are verifications in place within the online portal that will not allow a project to be submitted or moved from step to step if there's any questions left blank. So it kind of eliminates any need to send project applications back for incompleteness. If more information is required, comments will be sent back. When we do this, we will reference the exact question that we are needing more information from in our comments back to you, so you know exactly which question we need more information on. And as I said, these emails will be sent to your designated contacts. So it's important to have those in place and correct within the system, so you know those automated emails to alert you of either feedback needed or project submittals accepted. Those emails are getting to the right person. And then within the system, you can also view that any of the review feedback that we do send back, it is attached to the individual specific project applications. So even if, say, someone isn't getting those, but they are in the portal, they can go into that project application, they can hit the MPOAC feedback button, and they can see any of the feedback that we have sent. If we send an application back, any of the feedback we have asked for. And then, as mentioned, there's no major changes to the FPP applications for this year. We did just want to highlight a couple of questions that have given respondents some issues in the past. On question 10S or 7N, depending on whether you are submitting a state highway system roadway or non-state highway system roadway project, we just want to remind applicants to include the dollar amount being requested for the action that they need for that specific project. Here, an example of what we would be looking for is to fund $32 million of the construction phase for the project in fiscal year 2027. So that would be an example response of what we're looking for. We just want to make sure a dollar amount is included here, just because that is one of the pieces of information that's included on the public facing project list. So we want to make sure we have the dollar amount that's being requested for that project correct when we put it onto the project list. And then also we want to call out the funding table for the state highway system roadway applications. We clear this out every year just to make sure to advance the year, to make sure we're getting the correct year range, and then also to make sure that we're getting the latest funding information that is available for the project. So just those two questions we want to highlight to make sure, one, we're getting the requested dollar amount, and then two, you're aware that we are erasing the previous funding amounts that were inserted into the funding tables for the state highway system roadway projects, and you will need to refill these out with the most recent information available for the projects. And then I'll pause here just before I hand off to Hightow for the practical demonstration. Do we have any questions up to this point? Okay. All right, Hightow, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I will let you take over.
All right, thank you, Tom. I'm going to share my screen to everyone. Can you see the portal webpage?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool. So hello, everyone. My name is Haitao Yu. I'm with Cambridge Systematics. For the next 20 minutes or so, I will give you some basics about the website and the portal, and also I will show you a live demo of a new project. And then last but not least, I will give you a quick demonstration how you can resubmit a project after we provide you comments. So as Tom mentioned earlier, that you will receive a login portal link, as well as the login details. So once you are in the portal welcome page, you should see this web page, and then it gives you some quick introduction about the program, and then you can also download some materials here. And also my email and Tom's emails are listed here. If you have any questions, feel free to send us any questions. So there's in the center of the portal welcome page that you can see there's an MPO sign in green button. So please click on that once you are ready to start the process. For today's demonstration, I will just do a training account, but as you can see, there's a drop-down list of your agency. So I'm gonna put my password here. Okay, so once you are logged in, there's another welcome page for your agency's application portal. So on the top, there are some very useful information about the program, some resources, and also the links. So as you can see, the first one is instruction tab, which gives you some quick introduction about the program, the submission period. And the second tab, you will have the opportunity to download all the materials and also some instructions about the process. And the review key, which will give you the indication of which step you are in if you look at the step column here below. The last one, as Tom mentioned earlier, this is the designated contact information. So for your agency, so if you want to update any contact information, please email Tom.
And hi, Tao, 1 second on the designated contact. The system does allow up to 5 recipients for those emails. You can only see 2 right now, but if you do tell me to add 1 or 2 more people, I will add them, but you will not see them unless they are the primary or secondary, just so you're aware.
Okay. So the bottom of the web page is the all the projects that you are working on right now, or you have already submitted, or pending project you are working on for this process. So the good thing about this is that it gives you some all the project lists and also the steps of which steps you are in and the status of each step. And also there are some manage buttons that you can use to do a summation or check the MPOAC review comments, or even withdraw the FPP application. I'm going to show you in the next couple minutes. So once you are ready with the application process, please click on the Create FPP application button on the upper right. You will be directed to another page, which will ask you for a couple general information about the project you are submitting. So the first, I'm going to do a live demo for each of the field, but feel free to ask any questions if you have any. So for this one, I'll just say live demo, State Road 24 winding project. So the second question is ask you which facility it is, State Road 20. This will ask you to select the project type. So whether it's SHS or non-SHS or other project type, please select the ones that applies to the project. For this one, I'll just use SHS roadway project type. So the next couple questions will ask you some other, very general information about the project, whether there are any other MPOs involved in this project, or which counties are involved in this project. So if you click on yes, you will have the opportunity to select all the MPOs that's part of this project. So for this one, I'll just pick up the first three. For the 5A, I'll just use the Okaloosa County for this demonstration. 6A, are there any other private partners? So based on your project, you can select yes or no. 7A, whether this project is on the priority project from your district freight coordinator. So your freight coordinator might already have a priority project list. So our recommendation for this one is please coordinate with your coordinator on this one. Your freight coordinator information based on your MPO or TPO agency will be pre-populated by the system. So you can find it here. So for this one, I'll just say. Once you're ready with the page one, you can go ahead and save the draft, or you can continue to the next page. So once the second page of the application is asking for some additional information about your project. So the first one is asking you the project type. So for this project, I'll just say it's capacity and reconstruction. And if it's other, you have the opportunity to put the project type. Please provide a brief description of the project. So this is pretty straightforward. So I'll just say stable widening. And the next question is asking you the project rationale. So please provide more details about how the project can facilitate the freight movement in the region or in the state. So just use some text. So please provide all the project rationale here. The next couple questions for 4S to 8S. Those are pretty straightforward. If you have any FM number, F.FM project number, please provide here. Same to the FDOT roadway IDs, and they're asking the extent of the project. So I'm just gonna do FMX roadway ID 123. 6 is asking the direction of the project. So the milepost 0.0 to 2.0. Roadway A, roadway. Question 9 is asking for the metrics for the existing truck activities. We're asking you to provide the truck ADT and also truck percentage for this question. So for this demo, I'll just do 5,000 truck percentage is 10%. So the next question, please define the request action. It could be whether it's you want to allocate the funding from the latter fiscal year to a earlier fiscal year, or if you want to, get some new funding for unfunded cost. So as Tom mentioned earlier in the slide, that we want to please define the request action, and also please include all the the funding amount for this particular request action. So for this one, I'll just say ask new funding with, I'm asking for 1 million. 7S is pretty straightforward. Please provide all the funding programs that the project is eligible for. So I'm just, for this one, I just say maybe not applicable. The next couple questions, we're asking you provide more details about the project. So the 12 is you have to upload a map to show the location of the project. So I'm gonna do this one. And then please provide all the details for the PD&E phase of the project. So based on the status of the PD&E, please select the one that applies to your project. Just say ongoing. Please provide the PD&E link for the project. So I'll just say one, and also some additional information for our benefit. Page 1, project 123, fiscal year 25, 27, year maybe it's 2026. Amount of the PD&E is $1 million. So the next question, we're asking you to give us a breakdown of each of the project phase. So you can use this edit button on the most right column to provide an update. So please provide the full cost in dollars for each of the year. I'll just do some demonstration for this one. Once you're ready with this particular phase, you can hit the submit. The system will kind of show you your input here. The last question of this webpage will ask you to give us the links for the work program that you are referring to. So please provide as much as detail as you can. Page number 123, reference number. So similar to the page 1, once you're ready, please save draft, or you can continue with the next steps. The last step, we are asking you for the project screening information. So the first couple questions, we're asking you whether this project is part of the MPOs or its partners' rated priority. So if no, just check no, or if yes, please provide us more information. How was this priority determined? You can put some justification for this question. The question 2, it's asking you to provide us the information about the specific free plans or RTP that's referring to this project. So please provide the links and the specific study or plan name, or the links, or the project information here. This one, just say like no. Question 3 is also very similar. Please provide all the information that's that has the funding sources for this project. 4C is asking whether this project is on a priority free network. So if yes, you can provide us the links to the National Highway Free Network, and also if your MPO agency has a designated regional free network, please provide us the link and also the document page number. So for this one, I'll just say no. The last 2 questions are asking how your project is supporting the FTP goals. So please select all that apply. For this one, I'll just say safety, resiliency, efficiency. So, and question 6 is also very similar. Please provide a brief statement explaining how your summation supports the FTP goals. So for this one, I'll just say support safety, etc. So once you are ready, click on finish. Oh, sorry, this can be should be no. Once you are ready, please click on the finish, and you will see this green box on top that your application had been completed. So it's not finished yet. You have to go back to the specific project and hit the submit button, and you will be directed to a submission page that you have to agree and submit. Once you click on the agree and submit, you will see this message. on top that your application has been successfully submitted for review. On our end, Tom and I will receive the email. We'll start the review process, and by the next couple of days and weeks, we'll provide you our review results. It can be either approved directly, or we might ask for additional information. So as you can see, if you locate to the project we just submitted, is you can see that there's a pop-up message. I don't know if you can see this. It says FPP application review is in process. I'm gonna do a online review, and then I will show you how you can resubmit one if we have additional comments. So give me one sec. So like I said, once you submit a project, we'll start our review process. I just did a review. You should get a notification from the system that about our review results. If we are asking for more information, please log back into the portal and you will see that we will reopen the application for this one. The good thing about the system is that the portal will remember everything that you have entered already, so you don't have to start over, but you do have to start from step one. And if you want to see our comments, please use the Manage button. If you click on the Manage button, you will see you can see the View MPOAC feedback. So I just provided some comments that we need more information from the agency. We need more information about question 9. So please go back to your project in the portal and then click on step 1. I'm asking question 9. As you can see, all the previous answers, they have already been saved, so you don't have to start over. So please locate to question 9. Maybe I'll just say truck. More information is provided. A very convenient feature of this program of this portal is that you can always check the MPOAC feedback from the top right of the web page. So there's a button here, so you don't have to log back to the welcome page. So once you are ready with the update, please continue to do the same thing. Continue, finish, and then you will get the message that your steps have been completed. You can now submit the project during the open submission period. Once you are ready, once you double check all the answers, so please click on the submit and hit agree and submit. And now your application is submitted for another round of review. So if we approve the results, you will get if we approve the application, you will get another email from the system that saying that we approve your application. So I'm gonna show you one example. If you use the Manage button and see, you will see this status, project eligible. Thank you for your submission. And there's also a reporting button here. You can download a PDF for your own records. So that's the kind of overview of this portal and the process. I'm pretty sure that you have a lot of questions when you're actually doing this process. So You can, if you have run into any website issues, you can use the button to contact our IT support. And if you do have other technical questions, please email Tom and myself for any questions that you have. So Tom, I'll get back to you for this.
Okay, thanks, Haitao. Are there any questions now on any of the portal navigation or any of the processes you saw Haitao go through? Pause here for 1 sec. Then Haitao, can you drop your share screen?
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, I just stopped sharing.
Hi, not necessarily a question for submitting through the portal, but I have a question maybe Thomas can answer. Given that you provided the eligible requirement for the projects, what would be a few reasons why a project is not selected?
The most common is the PD&E status. We've had projects submitted that did not have that funding programmed for the projects, and that was one of the original stipulations that was set by the Freight and Rail Committee to allow the eligibility. Other than that, it's typically there aren't any other really reasons, unless for whatever reason it's not communicating that it is a freight priority project. It doesn't have any connection to freight. That would be something that we would push back to. If we're not seeing any of the kind of source material that we might ask for, that's something we would push back. We wouldn't deny that project. We would just ask for that sourcing to be updated. And that's another thing we want to reiterate with any of these project applications being resubmitted. We want to make sure all the links provided are current, just to make sure we can verify any of the sourcing that is provided for those questions where we need it. But yeah, it's mainly the PD&E, and then just making sure that these are freight specific projects are the main kind of big stipulations that we have. Does that answer your question, Sandra?
It does answer my question. The reason why I'm asking the question, I'm the freight coordinator for District 6, and
Mhm.
we didn't get anything selected last year. And
Oh, well,
so
we,
I'm
we
trying to see what we did wrong and correct it, and hopefully we can be able to do a better job at submitting this year and get a few projects selected.
Well, yeah, and with no dedicated funding pool for the program, selections are hard to kind of track too. So this list is meant to be, provided for FDOT's funding decisions. So it doesn't come down to a yes, no, this project was selected. There may be background to project funding going to these projects that sometimes we don't even know about. I do know one with the National Highway Freight Program specific funding pool, those are pretty well tracked. And since this FPP process is actually included within the prioritization process for the National Highway Freight Program funding, that is one area we can track better and work with FDOT to communicate which projects are receiving, which aren't. But if, say, your submittal isn't necessarily attached to the National Highway Freight Program, but maybe is getting funding from other sourcing, that we don't always know specifically if maybe they are, maybe they aren't, and maybe it was because the program of the FPP program, maybe it wasn't. We don't know that specifically, just because we aren't included in those decision-making processes as the FPT consultant team. So I still think there's value submitting the projects, even if we're not listing it on, that table I showed earlier for that specific program. Just having your program included on the list, giving that extra boost of visibility to it, and showing its importance to the MPO and the state's freight network, I think is advantageous of having the project on the list.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for answering the questions.
Yep. Okay, so we'll wrap this up in the last few minutes. You guys can see, you can see my screen, right? Nope.
No, I don't see it.
Okay. Can you share? See it now?
We have another hand raised from.
Oh, yep.
I can see it.
Yeah, go ahead, Marco.
Yeah, I have a question. For projects that were submitted last year and did not get approved, what are the chances of resubmitting and getting it approved this time? Should we even bother, or should we try something else?
No, if those are your freight priorities, I would keep submitting. Most MPOs do resubmit their projects, even if they don't see, a change in funding from year to year.
Hmm.
Um, I would say it's in the 70% of projects are resubmittals from the previous year. So
Okay.
that's typically what we see with most projects being resubmitted on a year-to-year basis until they've received that full funding amount they were going after.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. So our final slide here is just going over the schedule for the program. Obviously, today is the 23rd. We're having our virtual training session. Like I said earlier, Friday, the 27th, that's when your individual agency login information will be emailed out to your MPO's executive director. So be on the lookout for that Friday. And then that will mark the opening of the submission period. So the portal will be fully open. You can start submitting project applications at that point. We'll be doing reviews as those come in. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions or any complications that occur during that submittal period. But that will be open for a full month. So that will be open till March 27th. March 27th is also a Friday. I'll be sending, warning emails that the closing date is approaching to those designated contacts and MPO executive directors as that last week comes up. So be on the lookout for those if you haven't submitted by that point. But once we close that, we need a little bit of time to offload the data, get it processed, get it formatted into that final project list that's created each year. That will happen right after the closal date. And then we plan to have a draft ready for all of the participating MPOs ready on April 20th. We will send that draft out to you just to make sure all that public-facing information is correct on the project list. You'll have a week to review that. If you want any last-minute changes to that information, it'll be available. You can work with us to get that information changed. And then once we have that week, we'll close the comments down. And that following week, on April 30th at the MPOAC meeting, the project list will be brought forth first with the Freight and Rail Committee. After the Freight and Rail Committee, once it's approved, it will move on to the staff directors, and then from the staff directors to the full governing board of the MPOAC. And once we get that 3 layers of approval, we'll have our finished product ready. And so I'll prep that for the final last touches, get that ready for submittal, and the MPOAC director, Amanda Carpenter, will send that over to the FDOT leadership with the full complete 2026 FPP project list. So we hope you guys found this presentation informative and helpful for your submittals this year. Myself and Hightower will be available throughout the process to help you out. So you can email or call us, set up a virtual meeting if needed. We'd be happy to assist you in any way, getting your projects in. And then I'll just leave it, I know we're over a little bit, I'll leave it open for any final questions that anyone may have. But other than that, like I said, this session has been recorded and will be available for you to view again on that welcome page of the portal. So if there's not any more questions, thank you all for attending today, and we hope you have a great day.